let's talk about your take on the results we've seen so far coming out of the cement sector. I mean, Ashaka Cement PBT up, however, we did see sales down, which analysts are attributing to flooding. What's your take?
Without a doubt, the challenge is definitely the both economic and natural disasters that have happened in the Nigerian market of recent. You know, the reality is that construction during the rainy season as well usually slows down. So it's a function of not just the natural, flooding that we've seen. There's a cyclical slowdown in the third quarter, generally for the cement sector, as the rains definitely slow down the levels of construction in the market. The expectation usually is that the market makes up for those losses by the beginning of Q4 and towards the end of Q4. But I think that one of the key things that has been highlighted, and your comments are actually very apt, is that we're starting to see the aggressive growth that were coming out from the cement sector in the recent past. We're starting to see significant slowdowns in those numbers, and that's something that definitely needs some analysis. I believe that yes, whilst most of it could have been driven by the flooding as well as the cyclical nature of the market around the summer periods, it still underlines the fact that there is significant pressure on the manufacturing side of the market in Nigeria, and we need to pay attention to that.
Right. I mean, you've mentioned, of course, we're seeing some slowdown, but Lafarge WAPCO, I mean, we saw improved efficiency, PBT up 90%. I mean, what's your take on Lafarge's numbers? Certainly different from Ashaka.
Well, Lafarge's numbers are not exactly surprising. Don't forget that Lafarge has spent quite significant capex in the last 2-3 years, bringing online another production facility in the Shagamu area. So definitely from an efficiency point of view, they've been able to bring increased efficiency into the business, and we're just seeing that basically flow through into the numbers. And I think that in the long term, it could be very, very positive for them.
Right. I mean, what's your expectation for Dangote Cement? That's the big player in our cement sector, and of course they'll be coming out with their Q3 results. What's your expectation?
I suspect that what we're going to see for Dangote is trend line growth, the same sort of numbers that we've seen them come up with in the first and the second quarters, and don't also expect that they would be immune from the cyclical, downturn that we've seen in Q3, and perhaps even to a larger extent, the mere fact that a significant chunk of them and Ashaka's operations are more in the northern parts and the southern parts of the country, south and southeast now. So it's likely that the likes of Dangote, especially from the Bojana cement factory, which is actually more the centerpiece or the center point of the flooding that we've seen recently, would have suffered, from reduced sales during the period. And the bigger issue for the likes of Dangote is also that because they're in the central part of the country, the transport costs of moving their products from the production center to the key consumption centers would have increased dramatically as a result of the flooding. So I would put out, I'll be looking closely at the sort of marketing and admin expenses that come out from a Dangote, and see if they've been able to manage those costs. If we see strong performance on the stock side of things, as well as on the transport cost management side of things, then we should see very strong numbers again come out from Dangote.
Well, what's your outlook for the sector overall? Certainly, a lot of analysts believe with some of the infrastructural changes we're going to see coming on in the new year, there's going to be a marked improvement and, of course, a marked expansion of the market for the cement companies. For example, in our power sector, we're going to see the Gencos and Discos coming on board. And, of course, that may increase the need for cement here in Nigeria. What is your take on this opinion and certainly your outlook for the sector?
You definitely took those words right out of my mouth. I think that 2013 is going to see quite a lot of reconstruction first. Across different sectors. So you look at it, the flooding that has happened, government needs to start reconstructing roads, needs to start reconstructing, houses, buildings that have collapsed as a result of the flooding. So definitely I expect that there's going to be increased demand for cement, and that could put price pressures on the upside. The other positive for the market also is the power sector, and the expectation that increased capex requirements in the power sector would, in one way or the other, filter through to the construction side of the market, which will definitely benefit the cement manufacturers. But I think that I would always place, a lot more emphasis on the cost management side of things for these guys, especially given the fact that we've seen, commodity prices in 2012 globally raise upwards.
Right.
I would put some feelers out around that side of the market. If they're able to manage their costs very well,
okay,
and effectively improve on the distribution, then it could indeed be a very interesting year for the cement sector.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Femi, for joining us to give us your take.